3, 2, 1.
Well, hello everyone. I am back rocking my fancy Hawaiian shirt that was gifted to me a few years ago by a very good friend. And I appreciate that from him. And I hope that doesn't make a lot of noise right there when I move that microphone. Oh, it's been a fun week. I spent some time with the grandchildren and got bit by a spider, had a nasty reaction to that, and I'm trying to get over it. So if I sound a little odd, that's why. Nasty things happen when you have a reaction to a spider bite. I am here. We are back. Susie is with me. So if you see me do something goofy, she's just down here being her. My little podcast puppy. Just a friendly reminder, if you like what you see and hear, there is the audio only version going to be available. Hit those share buttons, like buttons, all those good things, especially if you like what you hear. Let's face it, if you like it, your friends, your family, you're going to like it, and chances are your enemies really need to hear it, right? So just go ahead and do that. If you do happen to listen just to the audio only version, I'm going to encourage you to come over to YouTube, visit that, subscribe, because it's kind of hard to find it right now because I don't have enough people subscribed to give my channel its own name. And once I have that and I rename it, then it will be much easier for everyone to find it. But if you just search for me, and whatever title it is that you want to listen to, or you'll find it. You'll find it. You know how to do all. You know how to do all the things. You've got smartphones. You know what you're doing. I'm going to ask you a very important question today. And I thought about this, and I've kind of mentioned it offhanded in the past. But I want to ask this question: are you investing in worry? Think about that for a second. Are you investing in worry? What I mean is, and now let's think about this. Do you subscribe to news outlets or regularly watch news outlets or opinion pieces? Doesn't have to be news all the time. It can be religious channels. Do the same thing. And they're filled with nothing but doom and gloom. Causes you to worry. It's frustrating. It's aggravating. You might not be paying for these things, but you might be listening to them. You might be, are you somebody who constantly has a news channel on just as background noise that you're listening to? It doesn't matter what side of the political aisle you might be on. They're all biased. They all are. Let's face it. They really are. Just a second. Thank you for bearing with me for that. I do apologize, but it is one of the results of that spider bite. I have a nasty little cough that won't go away right now. I actually do pay for a couple of news outlets. Not going to tell you which ones because they're not paying me to advertise. Okay, let's just face it. They're not paying me to advertise, so I'm not going to tell you which ones they are. They used to, when I first started listening and watching and reading, they had their biases, but I could weed through that. That was kind of easy to see through. But lately, many of the opinion pieces, many of the commenters, and even some of the editors are putting out nothing but doom and gloom, and it's frustrating. I mean, it's well, let's just be honest. It's disheartening, right? We live in, I hate it when I do that. I just bumped that microphone again. I apologize for that. I got to get better at this. We live in an age where information is more accessible than any other time in history. And that is a two-edged sword. We need to be informed. We absolutely need to be informed. But too much information can be overwhelming. It's that simple. And when it comes through that negative context continually, nothing but the end of the world as we know it, it gets tiresome. It gets tiresome. Now, there's plenty of bad news, right? And we hear it. We seem to be bombarded with it. But how do we defend ourselves against it? Can we defend ourselves against it? Well, the short answer to that is yes. Right? That's the big reason we need to be more familiar with what the Bible really reveals to us. Because when we understand how the Bible reveals some things that are going on and some things that we're getting ready for, it gives us that added protection. We see things through a different point of view than we would if we didn't have it. Excuse me, one more second. Yes, that cough is annoying, and I do apologize. You know, a lot of Christians are looking forward. They say, oh, I can't wait for the return of Jesus. Can't wait for the return of the Messiah. Why are they looking forward to that? Well, our Jewish friends, they're hoping for the coming of the Messiah, and the hope is that evil will end and our Creator will usher in a time of peace, maybe even prosperity. But the biblical prophets tell us something a little different. You're going to say, wait a minute, what do you mean? What are you talking about here? Where are you going with this? What are you doing? I actually go into some detail in Inheriting Lies about the difference between the Messiah and the coming Messiah and how that it all plays together. If you're interested, I'll put a link down here in a little while, so you'll be able to tell what is going on. Amos chapter 5, beginning in verse 18. Woe to you who long for the day of the Lord. What will the day of the Lord be for you? It will be darkness, not light. It will be like a man who flees from a lion only to encounter a bear, or enters a house and rests his hand against the wall only to be bitten by a snake. Does that sound like a time of prosperity to you? Doesn't sound like it to me. Okay? Joel doesn't paint a better picture, right? If you look at Joel chapter 2, I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood and fire and columns of smoke. The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the coming of the great and terrifying day of the Lord. I know some English translations say glorious, some say awesome. If you look at it in the original language, it's terrifying. Just saying. But, English only readers, you need to do the word studies. Trust me, you need to do the word studies. They're important. And it sounds like I'm talking about doom and gloom here too, right? But I have to just to set this up. Look at what Isaiah has to say. As they go forth, they will see the corpses of the men who have rebelled against me. Their worm will never die. Their fire will never be quenched. They will be a horror to all mankind. Now, that doesn't sound very appealing. Now, Isaiah is writing about the reign of the Messiah on earth, what Christians call the millennial reign. Joel and Amos are writing about the beginning of that reign. It's not something to be looked forward to, but it's not something to be afraid of either. Okay? It's just not something to be afraid of. When our Creator finally decides, that the time is perfect, His perfect time, not our perfect time, He will shake the heavens and the earth. And there's not going to be any doubt in anyone's mind that it is him who is doing it. Give me one more second to cough here. I am so sorry for that. I apologize immensely. Got to get over this. Now, what the Christians call the millennial reign is actually mankind's final warning. It's 1,000 years for a time of choosing. We've had all this time already. But when he chooses the perfect time, he's going to say, okay, I'm going to shake things up big time. And then he's going to give us the opportunity for another 1,000 years to choose. And one of the reasons you're going to be stepping over those corpses as you go to and fro is a constant reminder of who God is, what he can do, and why you need to choose his way, not your way. Now, I can't find, let me rephrase that. I have not yet been able to find when Christians began to teach that, the coming or the returning of the Messiah is something to look forward to. Some, they take it back and they say, oh, look, when he comes back, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Well, Yeshua, Jesus himself, never says, I came to bring peace. He said, I came to bring a sword. Things are going to be bad, right? They're going to get worse before they get better. Well, let's face it. We don't need to rush it. We don't need to look forward to it. You don't need to wait for it because you might not be here to make the choice. Let's just put it that way. You might not be here to make the choice. The reason that the Almighty is choosing to do things the way he does, it is him who will cause you to wonder. How strong is my faith? Is my faith strong enough to survive what I'm living through? Is my faith strong enough to do the things I need to do and still trust him? That's why here at Give God 90, we tell you, live the way you're designed to live. It's important. And it's important because if we choose the way, his way, live his way, we are better prepared to face the challenges that we're going to face. Doesn't matter if it's today, when you might get bad news from a doctor, you might get bad news from a neighbor, a friend, a family member. Living the way we're designed to live helps us determine our path that we take. It helps us determine our faith. Living the way we're designed to live helps protect us against the bombardment we face of negative information. When we hear it, we read it every day. If we choose his way now, yes, I'm reading my notes. If you see me looking down, I apologize. If we invest in him now, if we choose his way now, we are going to get a different point of view than if we don't. Excuse me just one second. Again, I apologize for that. Hoping to get over it soon. If we invest in his way now, we're going to look at the world differently. You can invest in worry, or you can invest in something that will help protect you from worry. We need to be informed. We need to know what's going on in the world, because if we're ignorant, we're going to be deceived. It's that simple. We are going to be deceived if we don't know what's going on around us. But being familiar with what the prophets tell us, it helps us let go of our traditions. It lets us turn loose of those church doctrines that interfere with what the Bible really has to tell us. When we are familiar with what the Bible really says, and we are living the way we are designed to live, it puts us in that strong tower, his strong tower. And when you're in that strong tower, you're going to look at the world differently. Trust me, you're going to look at the world differently. If you're out there just among the secular world, and you can't hide from it, but if you're among it, you're going to see things much, much differently than if you are up in this strong tower looking down, not as our Creator sees the world, but from a different point of view than non-believers, from a different point of view from the secular folks. It gives you a different point of view from the so-called lukewarm believers, right? When you're in that strong tower, you're not investing in worry. You're investing in something that will help you through eternity. You're investing in hope. You're investing in that complete trust in our Creator. You are investing in believing that He will choose the perfect time to do the things that He is going to do. Is there doom and gloom in the world? Yeah, there's doom and gloom in the world. Hate to tell you that, but there is. But you don't need to invest in it. You don't need to invest into doom and gloom. You can invest in hope. You can invest in our Creator. And you can be protected and defended in that strong tower if you're willing to make those choices today. I really, really hope this has been a blessing to you. And as I promised earlier, there is the books, Tradition of Truth, God's Universe, God's Rules, Inheriting Lies, all available at authorjerrymitchell.com. I do appreciate all of you who have purchased those books. I really, really do, because it helps us pay for what we do here. Okay? Until next time, I offer you many, many blessings, everyone.